In 1981, there were only 18 of these animals left on the entire planet. Scientists captured every single one of them, and what happened next changed conservation history forever. But before I reveal what this mystery animal is, stick around because the comeback at number 1, absolutely insane. Humans have driven countless species to extinction. The dodo, the passenger pigeon, the Tasmanian tiger, all gone forever. But today, I'm showing you 5 incredible animals that were standing on the edge of oblivion until we pulled them back. And number 1, scientists thought it was extinct for decades. Let's get into it. Picture this, 1966. Humpback whales have been hunted so relentlessly that in the South Atlantic, only 450 whales remain. That's not even enough to fill a movie theater. There used to be hundreds of thousands of these giants. These whales travel up to 10,000 miles every year, singing complex songs that last for hours, and we nearly erased them from existence. Between the 17th and 20th centuries, whalers killed them for lamp oil. By 1970, we'd slaughtered 95% of them, but then commercial whaling ended. In 1985, a complete moratorium went into effect worldwide, and the whales started coming back. Today, there are approximately 84,000 humpback whales in our oceans. That South Atlantic population of 450, it exploded to over 25,000. In Australian waters, populations increased by 9 to 10% per year. And here's what's wild, the protection method that saved them. It's the same technique that saved animal number 2 on this list. 9 out of 14 humpback populations no longer need endangered species protection. But while these ocean giants were making their comeback, deep in the mountains of Africa, another species was fighting for survival. In 1981, only 254 mountain gorillas existed in the wild. That's fewer than students in most high schools. Mountain gorillas share 98% of their DNA with us. They live in family groups and form deep emotional bonds. Dian Fossey, the primatologist who studied them, was murdered in 1986.
That Dian Fossey may have been murdered by poachers she had fought for the past 18 years.
Likely because she fiercely protected them from poachers. But her work sparked a global movement. These gorillas faced everything: poaching, habitat loss, civil wars tearing through Rwanda and Uganda, disease from humans. At one point, fewer than 300 remained. Conservation efforts kicked into high gear: anti-poaching patrols, veterinary care. And here's the genius part: they made gorillas valuable through ecotourism. In Rwanda, it cost $1,500 per person to see them, with 10% going directly to local communities. Today there are 1,063 mountain gorillas. The population quadrupled since 1981. They went from critically endangered to just endangered in 2018. The only great ape whose numbers are increasing. And that ecotourism model? It's being copied worldwide, but nothing compares to animal number 1. Because that one was literally declared extinct. Scientists said it was gone. And then, well, you'll have to wait. But first, we need to talk about that mystery animal from the beginning. The one reduced to 18 individuals. This is it, the black-footed ferret. And what scientists did next was absolutely insane. These masked bandits are North America's only native ferret species. They once numbered in the tens of thousands across the Great Plains, hunting prairie dogs underground. But habitat loss and disease nearly wiped them out completely. By 1979, scientists declared them extinct. Done. Gone forever. But then, in 1981, a rancher's dog in Wyoming brought home a dead black-footed ferret. Wait, what? They found a small population still surviving. Scientists faced an impossible decision. The ferrets were dying from disease, so they made a radical choice. They captured every single one, all 18 of them. They bet everything on captive breeding. 18 animals. That's all that stood between a species and oblivion. If the breeding program failed, the black-footed ferret disappears forever. But it worked. By 1991, they started reintroduction programs. Today, nearly 500 black-footed ferrets live across 17 sites in the US, Canada, and Mexico. Every single one alive descends from those original 18 animals. And that captive breeding technique? Same method used for several species on this list. But speaking of unlikely recoveries, America chose the bald eagle as its national symbol in 1782. By 1963, there were only 417 breeding pairs left. The symbol of American freedom was dying in America. The culprit, DDT. This pesticide entered the food chain, accumulated in fish, and when eagles ate those fish, it caused their eggshells to thin. The eggs broke before chicks could develop. By the 1960s, bald eagles had vanished from most states. America's national bird, protected by law since 1940, was going extinct in America. In 1972, the US banned DDT. The Endangered Species Act passed in 1973. Captive breeding programs launched. Scientists weren't just trying to save an animal. They were trying to save a national icon. Today, there are more than 14,000 breeding pairs. Over 70,000 individual eagles soaring through American skies. They were removed from the endangered species list in 2007. Remember that ecotourism model? Eagles benefit too. Wildlife tourism brings billions to the economy, and protection became profitable. But the most insane recovery is coming. It's 1895. Southern white rhino population. Fewer than 100 animals. Scientists expected extinction by 1900. Today, there are 18,000. How did that happen? Rhinos survived for millions of years, survived ice ages, survived everything nature threw at them. But they couldn't survive human greed. By the late 1800s, colonialism and trophy hunting slaughtered rhinos for their horns. By the end of the 19th century, southern white rhinos existed in one location, Umfolozi Game Reserve in South Africa. Fewer than 100 remained. One more generation would have finished them. They created strict protection zones, anti-poaching patrols. They moved rhinos to different reserves, a technique called translocation. And most importantly, they changed how people thought about wildlife. The population exploded. 100 became 200. 200 became 1,000. Today, approximately 18,000 southern white rhinos roam Africa. From less than 100 to 18,000. That's a 180 times increase. This is where that ecotourism model started. South African reserves realized live rhinos are worth more than dead ones. A single rhino generates hundreds of thousands in tourism revenue over its lifetime. Protecting wildlife became good business. This is also where captive breeding techniques were refined. The same techniques used for those 18 black-footed ferrets and the humpback whales. The method works. We have proof. Now here's the hard truth. While southern white rhinos recovered, northern white rhinos weren't so lucky. The last male died in 2018. Only 2 females remain. We saved one subspecies, but lost the other. 5 species. 5 incredible comebacks. From 450 humpback whales to 25,000. From 254 mountain gorillas to over 1,000. From 18 black-footed ferrets to 500. From 417 pairs of bald eagles to 14,000. From fewer than 100 southern white rhinos to 18,000. Here's what these stories prove. Yes, humans have caused tremendous damage, but we can fix what we've broken. When we commit resources, when we change laws, when we make conservation a priority, species can recover. The Endangered Species Act has saved 99% of listed species from extinction. That's not luck. That's dedication, and people who refuse to give up. Thousands of species are still endangered. Some are down to their last hundreds, maybe their last dozens. But if we learned anything from these 5 animals, it's this. It's not over until it's over. If this changed how you think about conservation, smash that like button. Subscribe for more stories that prove humans can be heroes. Drop a comment. Which animal surprised you most? See you in the next one.